You know what's funny though? One day I was standing in the concourse. This is a true story. And kind of like where the auction stuff is, it's kind of where the media can come out to the concourse. And I had happened to just be standing there, and Roscoe came by, and Ross like tossed me an Oakland '68 shirt. I still have it. And so I went up to the press box, and someone actually took a picture of me holding it. And it's probably somewhere in my Instagram, way buried deep. But I held it up to like shout you guys out, and I posted it. And then my bosses got super mad at me because they're like, "No, you can't act like a fan. You're a journalist." No, whatever. So
Man.
yeah, but I had that '68 shirt in the clubhouse, in the press box, because I was like, "Yeah, shout out '68s. Thanks for the shirt." And Ross, to his credit, is one of the only people that didn't see me and go, "Oh, hey, Brodie Brazil." So that was cool.
Brodie Brazil.
Fuck.
Oh man, that is insane, bro.
That's my dude, but we get mistaken for each other so much. It's so funny. Like I can't tell you how many people like yell Brody at me or Casey at him, and the worst person out of all of them was Shooty Babbitt, who we both worked with for like 7 years for me, like Brody for over a decade. And he always be like, yo, Brody, man, what's up? Or he'd say like, yo, Case, what's up to Brody? And so me and Brody actually put up signs in our office one day. And it was a picture of me holding my name and a picture of him holding his name. And it said, "Get to know your average looking white guy." And we just posted them all over the office. But my favorite mistaken identity story for Brody ever, well, actually, there's probably two. One, I was with Shooty in the dugout, and Ty Waller was one of the coaches for the A's at the time. And Shooty goes, "Hey Ty, come over here, man. I want you to meet my boy here." So Ty comes over and he's like, "Ty, this is Brodie Brazil." And I'm like, "Thanks, Bip." And then Ty was looking at us like we were insane people. It was so funny, and we were just laughing hysterically because this Shooty called me
You
Brody,
know,
so I
you know
called him
what, you know
Bip.
what's funny, and I have a question after this, obviously. What's funny is that Shooty, when we were, I think we were in the between the Championship Plaza and the Oracle Arena, and we were going to the diamond or the field to see batting practice one time, and Shooty was actually right there, and this dude behind me just goes, "Ricky, Ricky," and he completely ignores him, and I'm just like, I look back and he was kind of like close to me, and I was like, dude, that's fucking Shooty Babbitt right there. What the fuck you doing? And Shooty turns around, he's like, "Thank you, dog," and like, give me this.
That man is a treasure, by the way. He's one of the greatest
Yeah,
people I've ever worked with. One of the best personalities, one of the kindest souls, just one of the most awesome people to work with and get to know. Shooty's just in a
yeah.
class of his own, just one of the all-time best. But yeah, the mistaken identity stuff's funny. I remember one time in the comment section, somebody called me a JV version of Brodie Brazil, which I was like, yeah, I'll take that. That's cool. So I
Shout out
so,
Skyline, shout out Skyline High right there.
so
No,
I
I
always
was
give
I
my
was
dude
actually gonna
Brody
ask
love.
you about the whole Brody situation. Why do you? I mean, it's
Yeah.
insane. Again with all this bad press and just kind of down thing.
It's just an industry, it's a crazy industry. And sadly, like Brody's one of my best friends. So I've known about this for a long time, and obviously couldn't and wouldn't have said anything about it. So when he put out the news, obviously was felt bad and was very supportive of him. But we've been talking about this for a while now, and it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate for both the A's and the Sharks because I mean he's a staple for fans of both of those franchises, and you'd be hard pressed to find a better host in the entire Bay Area, a more talented media personality in the entire Bay Area. And what people don't know about Brody, like, or me, is that he and I spent so much time advocating for better Oakland sports coverage behind the scenes that no one ever saw. Like when we started NBC Sports Bay Area in California, it was CSN at the time, but it was 30% owned by the Giants, and me and Brody were there together, and our bosses all came in from Philly, and they're like, "Oh, okay, this is the Bay Area. Everyone loves the Giants, days, whatever." And like,
Yeah.
we spent so much time arguing with our bosses and fighting for better A's coverage, better A's stories, better A's resources. It was nonstop, me and him in the trenches. And I just don't think people realize that. Like, a lot of people are always like, "Oh, it'd be great to see you guys team up." Like, no, dude, we worked together for 7 years. I was his producer. He was on set, and he and I, we took so much pride in having less resources than the Giant shows, but putting out better shows than they were doing. That was our goal every day. It's like all the managers, all the people, they'd all be in the control room for the Giants shows. We would do our shows in what we called A's Island because it was just us, man. We were in there like kicking ass, and it was so funny because we would put out just incredible shows and incredible content, and we did it with less than everybody, and we had so much pride in that. And what I can say about Brodie is I used to love when the A's were really good and we do pre and post, and you could just see like the energy he'd have like when they'd have a big win, like he felt it in his soul. Like nobody understands that, but and Hanson and me, like we feel this in our soul. Like, and so, we can be objective as journalists or reporters or people covering a story, but we know what it really means to the people. And I think that, you're supposed to be able to separate yourself. And I believe I've done a good job of that. But like, I had all this to draw off of for my life, my life of growing up at the Coliseum since I was a baby. So it just meant more to us, and it always has. And so I think that Brodie is, he's an incredible asset. I don't think people know this, but this dude can shoot. He can edit. Like a lot of his YouTube stuff, he puts this all together on his own. He's one of the most talented people I've ever met, and so I know he'll land on his feet, and whoever gets him will be insanely lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like wherever he ends up, whoever hires him, I honestly think he can do it on his own. He's like you said, he's insanely talented. And the one thing I love watching you and Brodie is just the way that you covered the A's and like the Sharks and just sports. It shows that you guys actually care. You care about the team. You care. You're a fan of not just the team, but you're a fan of the fans. Like you resonate with all of us. So like you said earlier, when the A's have like a huge walk-off win, you feel that. You feel the excitement. When they lose like those games, like what the Adam Rosales game and Detroit, or was it Detroit or was it Cleveland with the home run when
Cleveland.
yeah,
When
Cleveland.
But
Angel
when they thought it
Hernandez,
was a home run, but it
Yeah,
wasn't.
and like you
that was
and
Cleveland.
that
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Cleveland.
people were pissed like on the post game show, and you felt that, and it wasn't just like, well, the A's lost another heartbreaker. It's like, no, you can tell that he was just like kicking the desk as he's watching it.
But it helps for context. Like some people just don't have that built-in context.
Yeah,
And it doesn't mean you can't cover something great without it, but I just think it helps. And I think the media landscape is changing so much. Like you don't want people to be a homer. Like you don't want people covering your team to be a homer or your broadcaster to be a homer. But I think that I guess where I got lucky, and this is a testament to you guys, is I started paying so much attention to the stadium stuff and the saga of what became of the A's relocation. And the story became you guys. Like it wasn't the team to a large extent. It was what you guys were doing, and that was cool because, I got to cover you and what you were doing. And that was probably the most fun times I've ever had is that reverse boycott day or fans fest or all those different things. I mean, it was really neat just to like kind of see you guys become the story. And it was far more interesting story than the A's, who were god awful the last few years, to be honest. So it was just an interesting turn of events. It's something that you don't normally see happen in sports. You don't see the team kind of fade to the background and the fans actually become the story. And that's what made this unique.